Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Whether or not we can have a truce in Nevada's Civil War. And there are 3 candidates vying for a seat on the Washoe County Commission. Jim Balough and Bonnie Weber and Ray Perez are here today, and they're in the hot seat. Sam?
Thanks, Andy. And along with all of that, we'll have our political pundits, Greg Ferraro on the right, Chris Wicker on the left, and Jim Denton, political analyst. It's all coming up on today's Nevada Newsmakers.
For almost 25 years, Randolph Townsend has brought fresh solutions to Nevada. In 1978, he campaigned for the rights of ratepayers by championing the Office of Consumer Advocate. Later a state senator, he took bold steps to fix Nevada's industrial insurance system, which was losing $1 million a day. An advocate of the disabled and mentally ill, Randolph Townsend was appointed by President Bush to the 15-member National Mental Health Commission. Senator Randolph Townsend, working for Nevada.
As a former state legislator and now state controller, Kathy Augustine exemplifies the leadership and integrity we expect in elected officials. She sponsored legislation to change the law so that the state controller can collect Nevada's outstanding debt. Now, in just 10 months, more than $1 million in state debt has been recovered, thanks to State Controller Kathy Augustine. Let's continue fiscal accountability in state government. On November 5th, re-elect Kathy Augustine State Controller.
What can I do with myself? I don't want just a job. I want a professional career, one that will give me a good income, flexible hours, a clean working environment. But most of all, I want a job where I don't do the same thing every day.
Have you ever considered a medical career?
As a doctor or a nurse, 4 to 8 years of college? I don't think so.
No, just 12 months.
Just 12 months? As what?
Medical assistant.
What do they do?
Perform basic laboratory tests in a medical office or clinic. Basically, you're a doctor's assistant.
How much does it pay?
The highest 10% earn more than $32,850 per year.
Wow, that's great. Tell me more.
Hi, this is Kathy at CCNN. Call me now, and I'll tell you how you can get started right away at Career College of Northern Nevada. Call 856-2266. That's 856-CCNN. Don't wait, call now.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and political analyst Ande Engleman.
Is there really a giant rift between the North and South in Nevada, or is that just something that goes on around election time? Speaker Richard Perkins has flown up from Las Vegas, and he joins us here this morning.
This is Richard Perkins from Henderson, Assemblyman from Henderson, and Speaker of the Assembly, which is like Nevada's House of Representatives.
Well, the first question, Speaker Perkins, is should the North be scared about what's going on with the political shift towards the South? We're going to get shortchanged in the long run?
I don't think so, Sam. It's the interesting dynamic is that nobody in Southern Nevada sees this as a North-South issue.
Except perhaps the Las Vegas Review-Journal?
Well, I guess whatever sells newspapers. But when Joe Dini passed the baton to me to be Speaker of the Nevada Assembly, there was that concern. And I have since then voiced that I want to be a Speaker for one Nevada, not 2 or 3 or multiples. And I also know that actions speak louder than words, and I've done my very best to make it into Northern Nevada as often as I can. In fact, my wife thinks I'm a resident of Northern Nevada more than I am at home. So it's important for us to have that, and as well for me to hear from the Northern Nevada representatives as to what's going on up here. So I don't see that we have those types of rifts in the state.
Well, Richard, it is raging up here in a number of assembly races also. There's a lot of resentment about what happened during reapportionment during the last session, and the North feels it was more or less shortchanged in that.
Well, and Andy, I would tell you that I think that the sentiment that has been created is one that's inaccurate, and the inaccuracy is that the reapportionment, redistricting for the legislative seats happens to follow the population. Seats would have gone south regardless, or the proportion of seats would have grown in Southern Nevada relative to Northern Nevada regardless of what we had done. So there's nothing we could have done to correct that.
Well, it could have expanded, and that would have kept seats safe in the North. Is that correct?
Won't John Marvel be on the road for the entire period of his term if he's reelected?
I mean, we've combined some very rural areas with some very urban areas.
And we have done that. But if we had expanded the legislature, it just means we'd have made more seats in Southern Nevada anyway, and perhaps even created more of an overwhelming effect relative to Northern Nevada. I just don't see the issue in terms of what has actually happened in the last session or what anybody has planned for the next session in terms of it harming Northern Nevada in any fashion.
Well, I think that's the concern. I think the concern is that maybe there's not any sensitivity in the South as to what is important to people in the North. That you do things that you know, in all honesty, you felt was the best decision, not realizing how it would appear to Northern Nevadans.
Oh, perhaps that sentiment exists. I can tell you that's not the way the thought process was gone about or how we arrived at our decisions. We also know in Southern Nevada that if Reno is healthy, then Las Vegas is healthier. And if Las Vegas and Reno are healthy, then the whole state can be healthy. It's one of those things where we want to complement each other, not be combatants in any fashion.
There are stories in the press now, and rumors, of course, at this point, that in the leadership battle for the Senate, that if the Senate does go to the Democrats, that there's a chance that we might see some senators changing parties. Have you heard any stories to this effect?
Certainly I've heard those types of stories. I don't know that there's any credence in them. We'll have to wait and see what happens after Election Day.
If the Democrats win the Senate, who will be the majority leader in the Senate for the Democratic Party?
I don't have as clear a crystal ball as some political pundits do, and I focus mainly on the Assembly, so I couldn't fathom a guess.
Not even, you wouldn't even guess Senator Dina Titus, who's presently the minority leader?
I would say, you know, since she is the minority leader, if the change happened in parties in the Senate, certainly she'd have to be a front runner. But there are a lot of pretty independent folks in that caucus that, you know, who knows what's going to happen after Election Day.
Henderson State College is very near and dear to your heart. It's in your district of Henderson, and you've shepherded this through the process very well. But the state is facing a major budget crisis. Is this the time to be promoting a new college that's going to cost a fortune?
Absolutely it is, and it's the Nevada State College, not the Henderson State College. But and I say that because it's a state college for all Nevadans. It's not just for Henderson. It wasn't meant to be that way. We were acting as a backward state. We were one of only 5 or 6 states that didn't have a state college in our system. And what a state college offers us as a state is the opportunity to achieve a 4-year degree more cheaply than you can at a university. So it actually saves us money. And that's why this is the best time for this to happen.
But are you a little disappointed with the cost of the startup of how little enrollment you have so far?
No, actually, we did not invest as much from the state as had originally planned in the startup costs. So we had to go out and find those monies from private donors, and that happened. So the enrollment is a little shy right now. I expect that that'll pick up in the spring. But overall, I think that we'll see great things from the state college at a time when we needed this in tight budgetary times.
What kind of money are we talking about? I mean, we're going to have to raise taxes, and I presume some of those taxes will be for the Nevada State College.
Well, I guess it depends on how you characterize what new revenues go towards. But in a $1 billion higher educational budget, this was less than $4 million for this investment. So I would think that the taxpayers are going to realize quite a return on such a small investment.
Speaker Perkins, we really appreciate you taking the time to fly up here to visit with us, and hope that bodes well for Northern Nevada in the future.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thanks very much for being here.
Thank you.
And when we come back, we'll take a look at a county commission race. Could be pretty important with development and growth. It's all coming up on the next Nevada Newsmakers segment after this.
Northern Nevada Business Weekly. To subscribe, call 770-1173.
As the seasons change and the nights become longer, it's time to think about a new bed for the winter. And there's no better place to find a great deal on a new bed than Rick's Furniture Warehouse. Stop by and check out their great selection of beds in all sizes, from pillow top to orthopedic and extra firm mattresses to a variety of bunk beds, day beds, and trundle beds for the kids. If you're looking for complete bedroom sets, a new headboard, or accessories for your bedroom, shop the other stores, then come to Rick's Furniture Warehouse for their everyday low prices. Rick's Furniture Warehouse at the corner of Moana and Kitsky Lane in Reno.
It happened at Enron. It happened at WorldCom. It could happen here in Nevada. Lieutenant Governor Lorraine Hunt has repeatedly tried to take millions from our state pension funds for risky venture capital schemes. The Las Vegas Sun criticized Hunt's plan, saying pensions should be protected.
Here's another tip for you, Lorraine Hunt. Stay away from my pension.
We need a lieutenant governor on our side.
Pension investments should be made by professionals, not politicians.
Vote for Aaron Kenney on November 5th.
I'm Bruce Jackson. Thursday morning on Backstage Pass, country star Roy Clark and King of the Cage. That's Thursday morning at 11, right here on News Channel 8.
Come on, you can do it. Just 30 seconds of Listerine, twice a day. Sure, it's a little intense, but think of all the germs you're killing. Listerine even kills the germs that can cause plaque and the gum disease gingivitis. That's right, you're fighting plaque and gingivitis every time. Keep it up, keep it up. Don't wimp out now. There. See? You can handle it. Germs can't. Listerine. Worth the time, every time.
Tonight, a cop is murdered, and to find the shooter,
our only witness is gone, Lieutenant. Gone!
This detective will risk more than his career.
If I get gunned down in the street, you'll take care of the deal.
NYPD Blue, ABC tonight, 10/9 Central. Viewer discretion advised.
In the Washoe County Commission race, Joanne Bond was soundly beaten. She was the incumbent. We have the three challenges for her seat with us right now, and we join them.
Sam, I'd like to introduce Ray Perez, the Libertarian candidate, and Bonnie Weber, the Republican candidate, and Jim Balough, the Democratic candidate.
Good morning. Well, first of all, I'd like to start out by asking the most obvious question, and we'll start with you, Ray. How would you govern differently than Joanne Bond?
Well, Joanne Bond, she may have been favorable in many of her constituents' eyes, but I remember one time I went to her and she just didn't even want to look into the issue that I was taking to her. I believe that anyone that enters politics, and politics is about issues, about ideas, about helping the people out there. And I think that being such a small state, we still have the good old boy system, and I just don't like it. I believe that the good old boy system has been in place for many years. And until we have a good, honest, governing body of people, this will not be a great state as it should be.
Bonnie?
Well, first of all, I was the one that came out of the Republican primary, and I was successful in beating Joanne Bond, and I have the utmost respect for her. But in decision-making processes, I think there needed to be more salesmanship. And I'm just enthusiastic and energetic, and I think I'll bring that to the commission.
Jim?
Actually, I think Joanne Bond has done a fine job in her 8 years in service. And hopefully I can continue on the same path. I have the same goals, basically. I would like to see the parks completed. I would like to go and meet the people and be involved. I've been as far north as Via Nevada. I've spent time with people up there and their problems, substations, uranium in the water, and all kinds of different issues. We have big issues in as far as growth. We have issues as far as entities go. We have also our issues consolidation. We have a lot of problems coming up.
All right, let me continue this then. We have an advisory question on the ballot concerning the train trench, and this time we'll start with you, Jim. Do you support that ballot question? What will you do depending upon how the vote comes out on that?
Actually, that's an advisory question right now on WC 7 on the ballot, and I feel right now that it is going in, it's going to go through. We need to support the people who are working on the trench, and we need to get out there and stand behind them. They're going to be spending money in this town. They're going to be going to eat. They're going to be buying their mothers and their fathers cards, and they're going to be spending money in this town downtown.
So let me clarify. If the question comes through that the public votes that they want you to not encourage the city council to continue with the trench, where will you stand on the trench issue?
That's a hard question to answer. I feel in my heart, if it wasn't voted on in the beginning, it wasn't a yes or no answer that wasn't put out to the public for that vote, and now it's going in, and I'm saying what I'm trying to say is we need to support the fact that it has gone through.
Bonnie?
Well, I agree with Mr. Balough. Yes, we do need to support the trench going through. The advisory question is simply an advisory question. And 4 years ago, when the 0.25% tax was brought out to the public and there was not an uproar, that's when the people should have been voting on this trench question. And so to go back now and do an advisory question, I don't support that advisory question.
Ray?
I do not support the train trench at all. A while back, there were 15,000 names on a petition to recall that issue and put it on the ballot for the people's vote. And the people should be the ones to decide, not 5 city councilmen. Of course, there's only 3 that decided for, 2 against. But I think it's up to the people to say that the train trend should go or not go through. Even the people in Gerlach will be paying taxes on it, and how many people in Gerlach are going to be using the train trench?
Interesting. Let's change to the subject of political dynasties. We've talked on this program about Julie Sferrazza with her husband being on the county commission and her stepdaughter being on the city council, that there will be an awful lot of Sferrazzas in business. Bonnie, you have a similar situation here where you're running for the county commission, your husband is running against John Marvel, and your sister-in-law is running in Assembly District 5 down in Las Vegas. Does that concern you about political dynasties?
No, it doesn't. And actually, my father-in-law is very excited about the possibility of all of us winning with that. No, you know, county commission and assembly seats are completely different. The county commission is much more local as compared to the Sferrazzas. I think there's a big difference there.
Bonnie, I wanted to quickly ask you one last question. You were one of the prime sponsors of ballot question 2, the marriage protection constitutional amendment, and you're a member of the Eagle Forum. If you have constituents who have an alternative lifestyle, will you be able to treat them the same as you do everyone else?
Well, Andy, I think it's interesting that you asked that. My membership with Eagle Forum or any other organization is strictly that. County Commission doesn't have anything to do with that. Question 2, yes, I am a sponsor, and yes, I do support the marriage between a man and a woman. And as far as listening to my constituents, always. They'll always have a voice.
Thank you all very much for being here. We appreciate your time. And when we come back on Nevada Newsmakers, we'll be joined by the Pundits. It'll be a hot one, and we're inviting Speaker Perkins to join us.
Over the past 20 years, I've seen a lot of changes in education.
I hope that I've had a positive effect on the students who have sat in my classroom.
I've taught them English and math, and I've taught them science. But if there's one legacy I hope I've left with them,
it's the value of a quality education.
In my experience, the Nevada State Education Association has
consistently stood up for quality education
for our kids and their future.
Any questions?
She's the most important person in your life. We can make her picture last for years to come. Fast Frame, expert picture framing. The masters painted enduring works of art. Trust us to keep their same standard of excellence. Fast Frame, expert picture framing.
Does the thought of going back to work scare you? Do you feel the skills you learned years ago are inadequate for today's jobs? Let Career College of Northern Nevada help you get back on your feet again. In just 6 to 12 months, we can update you on the latest office and computer skills you need today. Career College of Northern Nevada can change your life with training in travel and tourism, data processing, medical, or legal. Or you can earn an associate's degree in computerized business management or electronic technology. Career College can change your life.
My marriage had ended, forcing me to go back to work. But when I went looking for a good-paying job, I discovered my past skills to be outdated.
Hi, this is Tracy. If you would like more information on how you can get started on a new life, call me now at 856-2266. If you do, I'll send you these complimentary brochures which describe each one of the career choices offered at Career College and how you can get started. There's no obligation, so call now at 856-2266 and ask for me, Tracy.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're joined by Speaker Perkins. We appreciate you having the courage to join this group here. Chris Wicker, Greg Ferraro, and Jim Denton. And I guess I'm going to throw the first question at you, because we had Senator Reed here yesterday, and he was talking about the gridlock that's been occurring between the administration and the Congress and things not getting done. We need to raise taxes. It seems to be pretty obvious. Are we going to have problems with gridlock with the 2/3 majority needed?
That's always a possibility, Sam, only because you'll have a minority group of people that want to leverage that important public policy for their own end. But generally in Nevada, we do politics a lot differently. Out of 1,200 bills and resolutions that we will vote on, less than a dozen are party line votes, or less than a dozen break down that way. Not like they have the gridlock in Washington. Carson City's, it's just a different atmosphere. So, but it's going to be a difficult issue to deal with, no doubt about it.
Well, we had Senator Washington on here on the program who was talking about looking for more fat in state government, and I was kind of wondering where he was going to find it.
Well, I think you can make a very good point that the need for additional taxes is pretty much accepted in a bipartisan way. You know, the governor down, there's some of the Republicans running for the assembly in Washoe County are maintaining the same silly argument that, oh, there's more fat, there's more fat. At the same time, the governor, the Republican governor and the administration are saying there isn't more fat. And so I think they're just full of it.
I agree. I think the governor, Senator Washoe, and the speaker have done an extraordinary job in trying to find whatever waste existed in the past. And I think they've removed it, and I think we've cut to the bone.
And the problem is constantly the same. In a growing state, we have more people moving here. We have an obligation to educate children. We have an obligation to provide services to people that move to the state. And as long as the state continues to grow, we're going to have budget problems.
And to those folks that next session that try to leverage this issue for their own personal gain, I'll continually pose one question. What kind of Nevada do you want to live in 10 years from now? Because that's what we're going to decide next session.
In an 120-day session, Sam, I think it's really going to come down to the speaker, the governor, and leadership in both houses arriving at a tax program that can meet the 2/3. I think it will be left up to the leadership of people like Rich and the governor and Senator Washoe and others to put together the kind of plan that's going to get forward. We've got to have
There are some real challenges in this thing, and I'd like to hear the speaker's thoughts on the projected $300 million deficit of where he sees those taxes coming from, potentially.
Well, everybody knows that there's a task force currently studying our structure and making proposals. I believe the report is due November the 15th. They're narrowing, and our state is constantly narrowing our options. We know that an income tax is not an option. It's constitutionally prohibited, and that leaves very few things left on the table. It's too early to tell how that's going to shape up. There are so many players and so many ideas that we'll have to craft where we're going to go next session.
Well, I think it's important for the voters to pay attention to what the candidates are saying. Some candidates, as I pointed out, are saying no matter what, no new taxes. And other candidates are saying, approaching it with an open ear, well, we'll see. It looks like we're going to need it. And I think voters need to pay attention. And of course, from my viewpoint, I see the Republican Assembly candidates are saying no new taxes, no matter what. Now, when they get elected, are they going to be the gridlock?
Well, I don't know that all of them are saying.
I was going to say, I don't see all of them saying that.
But I think those that are now saying to the voters no new taxes have put themselves in a bind. Because I think there's no way we're going to leave Carson City next May without a new tax plan.
I think personally it's almost goofy when I hear somebody saying that we don't need any new taxes or we're going to be looking for fat, that they're just not dealing with reality.
And I think it's important that if you listen to Bill Washoe, who is arguably maybe the state's most conservative fiscal manager, and he even now says that there's clearly a need for new revenue.
Well, when you've got a $300 million deficit, you need more revenue.
When you have a conservative such as Bill Washoe and a conservative governor such as Kenny Gwynn coming out and publicly acknowledging that there is a tax problem in the state and that we need fiscal equity, there clearly is. And, I agree with Chris that there are some Republicans that are taking the no new taxes stand, but that's not all of them. In fact, it's a minority.
The folks that are saying no new taxes are generally not those that have any involvement or impact in the leadership of either house or either party.
I would agree with that.
And rarely do you have both parties of both houses and the administration going the same direction, and I think we are.
Well, and Republicans aren't the only ones that have cornered the market on no new taxes. There's a lot of Democrats out there that are saying the same thing. I think all of them put themselves in an untenable position by the time they get to
I got to change the subject here, otherwise we're going to be just talking about this one thing. Okay, I talked to Senator Reed yesterday about the lack of support from the Democratic Party for Joe Neal in his run for governor. Are you supporting Joe Neal for governor?
I'm supporting Joe Neal for governor, certainly.
But aren't you a little disgusted with your own party for not supporting him?
The dynamic that we have in the state currently is that we had a very popular Republican governor that was going to be very difficult to beat. We also had a candidate for governor from the Democratic side that supported Republicans on the higher end of the ticket, and that created quite a division.
Would it have mattered if he hadn't have done that? Would it have mattered?
Oh, I think it would have mattered a great deal. He's also run in the past and wasn't successful. All those things come into play. I think Joe will make the best run of it that he can, but it's going to be an uphill battle, there's no question.
Okay, let's talk about tort reform. The doctors got tort reform. Are the builders going to get it this session?
I think that most assuredly we need to deal with construction defects litigation this session. We're seeing, particularly in southern Nevada, affordable housing is almost non-existent anymore because of, and builders can't even get insurance. So I think we have to take a very even-handed approach and create some civil litigation reform in Nevada.
I think you're talking about insurance reform, though. When you're talking about insurance reform and tort reform and medical liability, the insurance companies didn't participate in the legislative session and the special session.
They did not.
And that is where the problem is, because this is such a small state, the insurance companies basically get to play the game by their rules.
Well, and we need to be careful.
And hang on a second, Chris. And I'd like to ask the Speaker, how are you going to resolve that and bring the insurance companies to the table?
Well, the problem that we have in Nevada is that we're a small state and a small market. And that's what we faced with medical malpractice reform as well. We discussed doing some insurance reform during the special session, but if we had placed any more burdens on the insurance companies, they would have then fled the state, and we'd have been left with nobody. We have to find, they're the bad guys in this whole discussion, whether it's medical malpractice or...
I agree. It's very important that the big companies don't use tort reform to say, screw the little guy.
Okay, and on that note, we got to go. We'll take a break. They'll keep on talking. We'll be right back.
Congressman Jim Gibbons believed that you deserved relief from the hardships caused by high taxes, which is why he and his wife Dawn sponsored in Nevada the Gibbons Tax Restraint Initiative that requires a 2/3 supermajority before the government can raise your taxes, and why he keeps pushing for similar legislation in Washington. Jim Gibbons believes that no additional financial burden should be placed on America's working families by the federal government without an overwhelming demonstration of need to do so. We need a fiscal conservative fighting for us in Washington. Re-elect Congressman Jim Gibbons.
Does Joe Carter really have our best interests in mind? When 70% of Carter's campaign is being bankrolled by special interests outside Washoe County. And Joe Carter will support Las Vegas liberals who took millions of dollars away from Washoe County schools and sent it to Southern Nevada. Democrat Assemblyman Ken Howler called it a mugging of Washoe County. Call Joe Carter and tell him to stop siding with Las Vegas special interests and ask him, whose side is he on?
Another day with nothing to do. I just sit around, drink coffee, read the paper, and watch TV. I need something more stimulating, something worth getting up for. A good-paying job would be nice, a job where I could feel like somebody, be professional and get some respect. A job with a future. But doesn't that require a 4-year degree?
No, all it takes is from 6 to 22 months training at the Career College of Northern Nevada in word processing, as a microcomputer specialist in data processing, medical or legal, in computer business management or electronic technology. Start preparing your future today with just a simple call to Career College of Northern Nevada.
By calling me, Tracy, for more information on career opportunities available at Career College of Northern Nevada. Call me now and I'll send you absolutely free these special brochures. Call 856-2266. There's no obligations. So call now and ask for me, Tracy.
Call now, 856-2266.
Can't leave without predictions. Jim?
Senator Mondale, or Vice President Mondale, will become senator in Minnesota.
I agree.
Roger holds the Senate.
Senator Reed stays Assistant Majority Leader.
Perkins holds the Assembly.
Let's go to Andy for what's coming up tomorrow. Andy?
Tomorrow, Joe Neal, candidate for governor, and Pete Ernott, governor's campaign manager. Remember, you can see us at 9 o'clock at night on Channel 12 or in Gardnerville on Channel 19.